cold in the cup holder since dawn. The radio's fading and the yellow lines keep going on. I called the house at midnight, but the phone rang through. She used to wait up. I don't know when that stopped being true. Oklahoma's behind me, and the panhandle's ahead. 14 hours of blacktop running through my head. The dispatcher says, deliver by the morning light. Some loads don't care that a man needs more than night. Black coffee and empty miles and a name I can't stop saying. A highway that goes nowhere near the place that needs me staying. I'll make the drop and sign the sheet and find a lot to park. Some men drive towards something. I've been driving through the dark. She asked me once how many miles I'd put on since we married. I said I didn't know. She said she did. That was 2 years ago. The sky's going gray on the eastern edge of flat. I've been awake so long I can't remember where I'm at. Some exits coming up with a diner and a phone. I'll stop and eat and think about calling home. Break 19 for anyone between here and the state line. You got a southbound driver with a little too much time. Radio says weather, but the weather's in my head. I'm hauling furniture for people I'll never know or fed. Had a voice come back to me somewhere past mile 204. Said, son, I've been out here since 79 and then some more. Said the road don't care about your troubles or your load. Said the only thing the road respects is miles. Channel 19 in the darkness between here and the dawn. Every voice of man or woman keeping themselves gone. We talk about the weather and the scales and the weight, but what we're really saying is we're out here, we're awake. Breaker, anyone got a copy on the westbound? 4. You got family waiting? Yeah. Good. Keep going then. The voices thin out past midnight, when the strong ones fall asleep. Just the insomniacs and worriers, and promises to keep. I'll ride the channel quiet till the sun comes up ahead. Then I'll go back to the silence and the miles up ahead. They'll tell you there's a code out here about what a man will haul. Flatbed boys won't talk to tanker, there's a pecking order, y'all. I'm at the bottom of the bottom, with my feathers and my smell. Chicken holler on I-95, good morning and farewell. The lot of lizards won't approach me, and the lot boys hold their nose. The flying J empties out whenever my direction blows. I've learned to eat alone and park downwind from normal folk. A chicken hauler's life is God's idea of a joke. But somebody's got to move them from the farm to the table's grace. Somebody's got to smell like this so you don't have to face the 4,700 chickens riding in my wake. I am the dark underbelly of your Sunday morning steak. A man at the diner asked what I hauled. I told him. He moved 3 stools down. I finished his pie. Figured he owed me. My daddy hauled them and his daddy hauled them too. There's worse ways to make a living, though it's hard to think of too. But I sleep in my berth and I drive my miles and I don't complain. Tomorrow I'll be empty and I'll load them up again. The trailer makes a different sound against the road. A ladder on the axles, but it's heavier to hold. A man's supposed to carry something. What's the use of him? Deadhead miles back home. The meaning getting dim. I delivered 50 tons of something to a warehouse door. Signed the paperwork and no one needed anything more. The fork truck took it, dock man waved me through the gate. Another load delivered for a world that couldn't wait. Deadhead miles, the ones that don't get counted in the pay. The empty road back home at the ending of the day. Some men carry freight and some men carry weight. They chose. Deadhead miles are honest. At least everybody knows. My daddy drove for 30 years. Said the deadhead miles were his favorite. So that's when you find out who you are, when there's nothing in the back. I didn't understand till I was 40. The exit numbers counting down and the city lights ahead. The empty trailer rattling like the thoughts inside my head. Tomorrow there's a load waiting somewhere I ain't been. Deadhead miles back home, then full weight again. Deadhead miles, deadhead miles, deadhead miles, deadhead miles. Jimmy Reeves died on a Tuesday out in Flagstaff on the tube. His heart just stopped somewhere between the load and breaking through. I heard it at a fuel stop from a man I barely know. Pumped my diesel, paid my ticket, got back in and let it go. Jimmy drove a Peterbilt since 1983. Knew every scale house from the border to the sea. Had a laugh you heard across a truck stop parking lot, and opinions about routes that he was never short on not. I didn't cry at the fuel pump, though I should have, I suppose. Men out here learn early, that's not how the grieving goes. You pump your diesel, check your mirrors, find the westbound lane, and carry across the dark terrain. I called his wife from Needles. She said he talked about me. I didn't know that. I should have called more. I knew I should have called more. I'll pour one out at the next stop, where the truckers know his name, and tell the story of the Flagstaff route, and who's to blame for keeping men like Jimmy out here past the age of sense. Some loads don't give you back the miles, the recompense. Last exit's half a mile, and then the suburbs start. I've been sitting at this pilot for an hour with the car, full of things I meant to bring and things I meant to say, and the engine's running still because I haven't found the way. Out here I'm the driver, and the driver's who I am. I know the job and do the job and give what the job demands. And there I'm somebody's husband and somebody's father too. And I have been away so long, I don't know how to do. Last exit before dawn, and I am sitting still, not because the road is hard, but because the home is real. A man can drive 10,000 miles and never face the thing that waits for him inside the house that all those miles bring. My daughter's 7 now. She was 5 last time I was home for more than a weekend. I don't know her favorite color anymore. I used to know. I'm gonna ask her when I get inside. If I get inside, I'm gonna get inside. I kill the engine and the quiet fills the cab right up. I pour the last cold coffee out and rinse the thermos cup. I check my face in the mirror like I'm checking for the load. Then I take the exit, last one, and I leave the road. Last exit before dawn, and I am sitting still. Not because the road is hard, but because the home is real.
I leave before the drivers wake and count their miles and pay. I know the lot by heart now, where the cameras look away. The diner opens at 5 and Marlene saves me a stool. She doesn't ask and I don't tell. That's the only rule. The trucks come through from everywhere and go back to the same. Nobody here is going home, they're just playing at the name. I've watched more sunrises over diesel smoke and chrome than most folks watching Lifetime from a porch they call their home. Don't sing me something pretty about the open road. Don't tell me freedom lives somewhere between here and that load. I know what freedom cost at 5 a.m. on asphalt gray. I've been paying for it different, but I've been paying every day. Marlene asked me once where I was from. I said everywhere west of the Mississippi. She said that's not an answer. I said that's all I've got. The first light hits the windshields and they turn to amber fire. And for a minute everything looks better than it is, or higher. I'll be gone before the lot fills up with day shift noise and crowd. Some women disappear at dawn. I just disappear out loud. Don't sing. Don't sing. Don't sing.
I don't read the manifest past what the weight says. I don't ask about the contents, and I don't count the days between the pickup and the drop-off. That's not my concern. I drive from A to B and take the money that I earn. A man asked me once, didn't I wonder what was inside? I told him wondering is expensive, and expensive cost your ride. Some freight is better carried by a man who doesn't think too hard about the cargo keep the load and kill the drink. Manifest unknown, and I prefer to keep it so. Some knowledge isn't knowledge, it's a place you shouldn't go. I drive what I'm dispatched to drive, and I sleep the way I sleep. Manifest unknown, some cargo's not for me to keep. I pulled over once in Louisiana, 3 in the morning. Listened to the trailer for a long time. It was quiet. I pulled back onto the highway. Some things you don't verify. That's the rule. That's the only rule. The drop was in a warehouse with no windows and a gate. I backed up to the dock and signed, and didn't make them wait. The man who took the paperwork had careful, quiet eyes. I drove the empty trailer into somebody else's lies. Manifest unknown, manifest unknown. Same booth in the corner,
Since the year I can't recall,
same laminated menu
with the photos on the wall.
She comes around with coffee
Without me having to ask,
that's a kind of knowing
that I don't know how to last.
He takes it black and sits there
With the window and the road,
doesn't talk much, tips well,
seems to be carrying a load.
I watched him age 10 years in this booth, through every season's run. He doesn't know my name,
And I don't know his.
that feels like something.
Night owl diner at the edge of going on.
Two people who are neither here
Nor fully gone. He keeps the road, I keep the coffee.
both of us keep time in a place that's only real
Between midnight
and the 9. I almost asked her name once,
I almost asked him where he was headed.
figured it would change things.
Some things hold together better in the not knowing.
The sky goes gray at 5.
And then I leave the same way always.
I clear his table.
Watch his lights disappear in morning haze.
I'll be back in 3 weeks,
Or a month, or maybe 2.
and I'll be here.
That's all either one of us can do.
pencil 'cause my daddy wrote in pencil on the road. Every entry neat and level, every column with its load. The government says use the screen and let the satellites decide, but I have been recording my own miles since '79. My logbook's got a crease on every page that I have filled. From the elbow of my writing arm, the book knows how I build. A satellite don't know that I stopped twice for the sky, or that I pulled off once in Texas just to watch the herons fly. They can have my logbook when they pry it from my hand. Till then I'll write my hours in a way that I understand. Every mile in pencil, every stop in my own word. Every sunrise that I witnessed, every hawk I heard. You've been with me since before my youngest was born. 14 volumes on the shelf at home. My wife says it's hoarding. I say it's evidence. Evidence that I was here, that I went there, that I came back. I'll close the book and clip the pencil to the spiral wire, and sleep in the berth while the lot outside breathe fire. Tomorrow I'll open to a fresh page, clean and white, and write the date in pencil, proof I made it through the night. They can have my logbook when they pry it from my hand. Till then I'll write my hours in a way that I understand. Every mile in pencil, every stop in my own word. Every sunrise that I witnessed, every hawk I heard.
I work the midnight window on the eastbound lane. Check the weight and wave them through and watch them disappear again. 20 years of this and I have seen what America hauls, producing paper, steel and stone, and things nobody calls. A man came through last Tuesday with his eyes too bright and wide. I checked his paperwork twice. Something wrong inside. He smiled the way a man smiles when a smile is a door. I waved him through because my job's the wait. nothing more. They pass through like a river, and they don't look at my face. Just hand the paper forward and go back to their race. But I've seen the fathers and the desperate and the freed. 40,000 pounds of time, America passes me. A woman came through once in a reefer unit, not as freight as the driver. She looked at me like I was the first woman she'd seen in a week. I gave her extra time on the clock. I don't know if it helped. My shift ends at 6, and the day girl takes the booth. Another night of America and all its heavy truth. I drive home past the places where the trucks don't slow or stop. A whole world moving through the dark. I just check the weight on top. They pass through like a river,
The fan's been going since Kentucky, and it's almost Iowa now. I've been staring at the ceiling, trying to remember how a man gets from a wedding day to a sleeper berth alone. 40,000 miles a year and nowhere that feels like home. I miss the play and miss the game and miss the birthday cake. I told myself I'd make it up, but there's only so much make. My daughter asked me once what I did when I was gone. I said I'd drive and drive and drive until I'm home. Sleeper berth confessional, the ceilings heard it all. Every exit number that became another missed call. The engine's off and everything is quieter than it should. I've been meaning to do better. I've been meaning to for good. Hey, I know it's late. I just wanted to say I'm sorry about the recital. I know you said it's fine. It wasn't fine. I'll be home Thursday, maybe Wednesday if the load clears early. The lot outside is humming with 100 other men who are lying in a berth and going over it again. We built this country, hauled this country, kept this country fed. And somewhere in the middle, lost the lives we should have led. I've done this pass in January 14 times or near, and every single time I ask for something in the gear. I don't pray to Jesus anymore, I pray to the great Lord of the black eyes. Hear me now, let my weight be paid. Elevation 3800 and the temp is 22. The chains are on and the jake brake's set, and there's nothing left to do but talk to the asphalt and the guardrail and the dark, and ask the mountain one more time to let me keep my heart. Black Eyes Gospel on the mountain in the dark. The church is my care and the altar is the stark. White line on the shoulder and the void beyond the rail. I have prayed this mountain every winter without fail. I've seen 3 trucks go over on this pass. 2 I witnessed, 1 I found. I know all 3 names, I say them on the way up, I say them on the way down. The bottom of the grade comes and the temp goes up a touch. The chains are loud on the dry road, but I don't mind them much. I say the names again and add one more. My own made it down the mountain one more time toward home.
Load number 479er, pick up in the Receivers closed Sunday, so there's your Thursday warning. Temperature sensitive, handle with your best care. She reads the same voice to 100 men out there. But Tommy calls from Amarillo, sounding thin and raw, and she stays on the line a minute longer than the law of dispatching requires. She asks about his knee. Nobody knows she does this, nobody but the three. She is the voice between the silence and the road, the one who knows your truck by sound before you've spoken code. She won't remember all of them, there's too many running lines. But Tommy from Amarillo, she remembers every time.
He said once, "You're the only voice I hear some weeks." I didn't know what to say to that. I said, "Load 479er, be careful on the grade." He said, 10-4. That felt like enough. I think that felt like enough.
She clocks out at 6 and drives home in the quiet, past the interstate where all her voices run their riot. She knows the plates of 30 rigs by sound and time and weight. And Tommy's somewhere east of Albuquerque, running late.
Of payments till this Kenworth was my own. The broker called on Tuesday, said the rate was going down. Said the big fleet's got the contract, said independence done in this town. I've watched them take the terminals and watch them take the lanes. Watch the little guys go bankrupt while the big ones took the gains. I used to know the shippers by their first and middle name. Now it's all an app and algorithm, every load's the same. I am the last of something that this country used to know. A man who owns his rig and picks his load and where to go. They'll get my keys when I'm done hauling, and they'll get them when I'm dead. Till then I'll run my miles and be the last of what was said. My son asked why I don't just sign on with the fleet. Good benefits, he said, steady miles. I told him I don't know how to explain it to someone who has never owned the thing they drive. He said that's not practical. I said, I know. I'll run this route until the rate ain't worth the diesel cost. Then I'll park her in the field behind the barn and count the lost. But tonight she's running strong on an empty interstate, and I am the last independent, and the hour's getting late. The reefer unit runs at 34 degrees. I've been keeping things this temperature for years with practiced ease. The thermostat goes in and out, but mostly holds its own same temperature. I keep the parts of me I haven't shown. Frozen beef to Memphis, and then produced back to Maine. I've been running cold freight so long, I forgot what warm contained. My ex-wife said I had the temperature of cargo in my chest. I thought she was complaining, now I think she was impressed. 34 degrees is where the things don't spoil or grow, where nothing goes to ruin, but nothing has to know. I've kept my load intact through every mile and every state. The reefer unit's running, everything is cold and gray. Thermostat held through the night. Temperature variance 0.3 degrees. Everything intact, cold and intact. Yeah, sometimes in the summer, when the desert heat comes through, the reefer works twice as hard to keep the cold on through and through. And I can feel it fighting to maintain the freeze inside. Sometimes I wonder what is keeping, and I wonder what has died.
degrees is where the things don't spoil or grow, where nothing goes to ruin, but nothing has to know. I've kept my load intact through every mile and every state. The reefer unit's running. Everything is cold and gray.
I still hear the engine at 6:15. That big diesel grumbling through the gravel and the sticks. My hand goes to the coffee before I remember right, and I stand there at the window in the failing light. The company sent a letter and a check and a rep. A man in a good suit who watched where his feet stepped said Kenny was a good man and his record was clean. I told him I knew that. What did that sentence mean? 6 years of gravel sounds at 6:15. 6 years of headlights through the curtain in between. Now the driveway is just a driveway, and the silence is a wall. Some sounds don't stop just because the man who made them falls. The kids are grown. They've stopped looking up when a truck goes by. I haven't. I don't know if that makes me faithful or foolish. Probably both. I got an offer on the place last fall. Good price, they said. Sold the land but kept the driveway and the gravel bed. People think that's strange. I let them think what's true. Some women keep a driveway for the man they're listening to.
into the wait station on I-40 West. The green light was showing, so I did like the rest. Rolled up to the booth, but the booth had nobody in. Just a microphone crackling and a voice from within. It asked me my weight and my manifest and run. I answered every question like I always done. It cleared me through when I pulled back on the road. But in my mirror the station had no lights, only cold. I've been through that station maybe 40 times or more. Never saw a light on, never saw an open door. The other drivers say it's been closed since '89, but something checks my weight each time I cross that line. I wrote it in my log. 4:17 a.m. Wait station on I-40. Cleared through, the dispatcher said that station's been decommissioned since Reagan. I said, it didn't feel decommissioned. I don't stop there in daylight, 'cause in daylight it's not there. Just weeds and broken concrete and cold November air. But catch it in the darkness at the right hour, going west, and something checks your weight and clears you on request.